Welcome back to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Deese, and as always, I am excited that you are here hanging out with me today. And actually, this is going to be the last episode I'll be recording here in the studio for a few weeks, because if you know anything about Kristen and I, you know we like adventure. Chris and I are about to hit the road, and we're not just hopping on a plane. We're actually going to take our RV out west on a 3-week road trip. And I got to tell you, I'm really excited about it. This is not the first time we've done this, but I feel like it's been a long time since we've kind of hit the road in this fashion. So basically what we're doing is we're going to head from here. We're going to go out to the ACA show in Las Vegas, and then we're going to drop down to Phoenix, and then we're going to make our way back across Texas, maybe Dallas, maybe Houston, who knows? And then we'll head back here to Florida. Now, last year we did something similar, but we did it airplane to airplane, airport to Uber, Uber to hotel, hotel to conference room, and back again. Although that's really fun to do and all that good stuff, this year we're going to do it a little bit differently because this year we're going to build a little bit of margin into our journey. We're building flexibility into the schedule, and we're building a little adventure into our plan. And that leads me to the question I want to talk about today. What kind of freedom are you building in your business? Because the truth is, freedom looks different for every person, for every owner. So for you, freedom might mean growth. It could mean scaling to $10 million, expanding into new markets, buying a competitor, crushing big revenue goals. For others, freedom means something totally different. For some, it might mean coaching your kid's team, taking a Wednesday afternoon off, or going hunting and fishing and not feeling guilty. Or it could be taking a 3-week road trip without your phone blowing up. Neither one is wrong, but they require a very different business. And most owners never slow down long enough to decide which one they actually want to build. If you don't intentionally design your business, it'll design you. And most of the time, that design looks like 80-hour work weeks, constant stress, being the answer to every problem, and feeling like your business owns you. And let me tell you, that's not freedom. That's a job with a ton of risk. And I've lived on both sides of this. Almost 10 years ago, Chris and I pulled our kids out of school and left on a 6-month RV trip across the country. At the time, we owned a plumbing company in Navarre. We owned an appliance company in Atlanta. We had rental properties that were here. And we also were partners in a national coaching business. So I remember thinking, if we leave for 6 months, is this all going to implode, or is it going to prove that we built it right? So I'll tell you a little bit of backstory on how the 6-month RV trip even happened. So Chris and I were sitting in my office one day, and I had a big map, and I had different pins on different conferences coming up and some on-site shop visits I had scheduled. And we just kind of looked at it, and I just kind of made the comment. I said, what if we just got in our RV, pulled the kids out of school, and hit the road? And sure enough, we did it. And, there was a lot of anxiety with it because, one, we're pulling the kids out of school, right? Now we're having to teach them from the road, and we're having to work. But, at the end of the day, what we wanted to know is, did we build the business correctly? Or did we build a business that was 100% reliant on us, which we didn't want? But what happened next was really a huge lesson for me. The business didn't just survive. They all actually thrived. Revenue stayed strong, leaders stepped up, and customers were served well. And then it kind of hit me. Freedom, it's not accidental. Freedom is engineered. If you want real freedom in your business, the first thing you have to build is leadership, not dependency. If your business can't operate without you, you don't own a business, you own a job. Freedom starts with leadership depth. That means clear roles, clear scorecards, clear expectations, and clear authority. Your service manager needs to know what winning looks like. Your CSR team needs to know what success looks like on their department. Your dispatcher needs to know what a full board actually means. You can't just say they just should figure it out. You have to build a plan for them to win. And you have to develop leaders who build other leaders. Because if you're the only leader, you are the bottleneck. The second thing you need is systems. You cannot scale chaos, and you definitely cannot leave chaos for 3 weeks. Freedom requires systems. How are calls handled? How are technicians dispatched? How are KPIs reviewed? How are meetings run? If your systems live in your head, you can't leave. But if your systems live in dashboards, scorecards, processes, and habits, now you have leverage. This is why I talk about scorecards, performance standards, weekly meeting rhythms, and accountability structure. Not because they sound fancy, but because they create freedom. The third thing you need is clarity. You have to decide what freedom actually means to you. Some owners want to build and sell. Some want to pass the business down to their kids. Some want a lifestyle business. Some want to dominate their market. The mistake most owners make is they try to build everyone else's version of freedom. If you want to work 100 hours a week and scale aggressively, great. Build that intentionally. If you want margin, time, flexibility, excellent. Build that intentionally too. Just don't drift, because drifting creates frustration, while clarity, it creates peace. So here we are 10 years later, and Chris and I are about to do it again. Not for 6 months this time, but for 3 weeks. And what makes this one exciting is we're not rushing. We're not sprinting through airports. We're actually building flexibility into our schedule so we can stop, see friends, visit shops, sit down with owners, record some podcasts, and actually enjoy the journey. One of the things on our other road trip that we had just an absolutely amazing time. Our kids were the right age to really enjoy it, but there was a lot of rushing. Even though we were gone for 6 months, there was a lot of hurry up, and having that to do over again, I definitely would have built a little more time for enjoying the ride, right? Just enjoying it every day. And so that's why we're doing it this way. Again, we're not going to be gone for 6 months. We're only going to be gone for 3, and we still own businesses. So if you're like, well, sure, you're doing that now because you sold your business. Well, we sold one of the businesses. We still own a couple of businesses, one of which we just bought here at the beginning of the year, which is a restaurant. And most people can tell you restaurant can be pretty dominating. But all the things that we talk about, all the things that we teach, we have implemented into the restaurant, and it's going really well. And I have no doubts that leadership team is going to do an amazing job while we're gone. So let's bring all this stuff home. If you want real freedom in your business, remember 3 things. Build leaders who can win without you. Install systems that don't depend on you, and get clear on what freedom actually means to you. Freedom isn't escaping your business. It's about designing it the right way. So here's my action steps for you this week. Ask yourself one question. What does freedom actually mean to you? Then identify one place in your business where you're the bottleneck, and start developing one leader who can carry more weight. Don't try to fix everything at once. Just start with one. And listen, if you're along our route between Vegas, Phoenix, or somewhere in Texas or in between, and we've never met, reach out. I'd love to stop by your shop, hear your story, and maybe even record a podcast episode together. Because freedom, to me, freedom also means connection. So again, just remember, freedom, it's engineered. Leaders create leverage, systems create stability, and clarity creates peace. You get to choose what kind of business you're building. Just make sure it's one you actually want to live inside. Thank you for joining me on today's episode. Make sure you subscribe so you're notified when new episodes are released, and share with a fellow leader who could benefit from building more freedom in their business. Until next time, keep setting those goals and watching your business and leadership transform. This is Justin Deese signing off from the Freedom Blueprint podcast. Stay motivated, build intentional freedom, and as always, keep crushing it.